The moment that any of these people get in the street and start blocking traffic, I would be immediately shutting them down. Like, I hate these fucking people. And I would be going as hard as I possibly could. And the more upset and the sadder that they got and the more angry they got, the more I would do it. And if they started being violent, well, that's the way it goes. Don't do it. And follow the fucking law. Don't go and act like you can do whatever you want. It enables the behavior. I think the argument might be that these situations might get bystanders hurt more than anything to do with the immigrants. Yeah, I mean, obviously there's more to think about it, but overall, I don't think that they should roll anything back. I think the traffic stops are totally fine, and I don't think any innocents have gotten hurt so far, and it's because the people got shot. So, problem solved. Even in Canada, police can shoot you for driving at them. Even in Canada, that's bad. It's illegal to shoot to block public roadways, even if you're protesting. Why do we allow this? We allow this because we're cucked. We allow this because we're cucked. I tell people that I think that it should be the law that you can literally just run these people over if they're standing in the street. That's what I think you should be able to do.
Come on, bro.
I think that if they're standing in the middle of the street and they're blocking traffic and you hit them with your car, you should have gotten out of the way. You need to get a permit. You need to go to the police. There is an entire process of doing that. Martin Luther King did this, by the way. He got permits for his marches. So...
You do understand that they got, like, arrested and... You understand that, like, the most famous MLK marches that caused civil rights to succeed in the United States happened because of police chiefs like Asmongold, right? That the police chiefs that were strategic in dealing with the civil rights marches, their main thing was only arrests, don't hit or attack any black people, don't make a scene, be cordial, be peaceful, don't give them an excuse, and lock them up. And that it wasn't until you got an insane police chief who was like, eat them with the dogs, that everything completely got fucked for Asmongold's team. And people are like, well, maybe this fucking, maybe the Jim Crow racism shit, maybe this actually isn't that good. So even from a strategic standpoint, he's wrong.
Whenever they're not able to do that, they're saying that they have a moral authority that is greater than Martin Luther King protesting against segregation, protesting for civil rights. Oh, I don't think that they have a higher moral authority than that. It's embarrassing. They should pay for the vehicle damages? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, run them over and then they have to pay for the vehicle damages. I like the sound of that. That's a good idea. What about the illegals that are wrongfully detained? With the illegals that are wrongfully detained?
Who cares? Get rid of them anyway.
There is not a single instance of the police doing any law enforcement action that has a 100% certainty of success. There will be false positives, there will be mistakes, and this is necessary. Not necessary. I don't think necessary is the correct answer. This is inevitable. This will always happen every single time.
Thanos.
It doesn't matter whether it's bank robberies, murders, rapes, or child molestation. There are mistakes, false positives, people that get arrested, they get detained, and that's what happens. Illegals. The person said legals. But, yeah, not an illegal. But, yeah, I'm just saying in general, that's the way I see it, right? More than anything, that's really where I'm at.
Okay.
What do you want me to say? That's twitch.tv.
That's twitch.tv, baby. What do you want him to say? God damn it. And now we have... I should have played this one first. Fuck.
Doesn't know what he just goes on the timeline.
Who is it?
Well, what about, like, the image? Like, are you going to say it's a fake image? Maybe you can say it's a fake image.
And whatever his algorithm shows him, he just fucking spits out. And
meanwhile, you're on. This is the. I'm so sick of hearing this from Hassan. I can listen to this from Destiny because Destiny spends like 4 hours reading boring documents. But I don't want to hear this from Hassan. Hassan spends time. This is what Hassan does. He's either spending time reading articles about himself, talking about himself, eating, or browsing Twitter, or watching YouTube with minimal to no commentary.
I didn't see this.
That's what you're doing. It's not that different than me.
True.
It's really not.
Unfortunately.
So you're on Twitter complaining about me being on Twitter.
Whatever, dude. He's a fucking animal. He's a dumb, low IQ, disgusting little animal.
He's just like Trump, by the way.
Who? Hassan?
I called out his favorite Terrys, and he really took it personally, didn't he?
You heard he started... Oh, you were in here when I said that. He started using the term nasty.
Yeah.
Too bad.
Like even calling him low IQ, terrible. These are all Trump phrases.
All your favorite little Terrys. It's too bad. I just really don't know. But anyway, yeah, very, very funny that he's talking about him being paid to go out there. This guy calling you, this is the guy calling you low. Oh God, is there something else? Is this another one?
Did you read a lot of books when you were growing up?
Oh no.
I read a decent amount. I don't really read as much anymore, but I did when I was growing up.
Any books stick out in your head as memorable ones?
Oh no.
Name 10 books.
What did he do for school? He couldn't think of a single poli-sci class or anything.
I don't know.
Or...
I have no like
That's just
immediate
crazy.
books that come to mind.
Oh,
I'm also
no.
terrible at recall in general. If you ask me about any songs, for example, I can never tell you any of the lyrics.
I am so dumb. I'm the one that's
It's total
dumb.
Asmongold victory.
I'm so stupid. This is so embarrassing. I don't even know what to say. Name 2 books. Those are kind of the
I just don't understand how, because in a poli-sci class, there's got to be like standard fucking some
in, like,
Rawls
regular
or Hobbs or
class.
any. Yeah, literally any. He went to college. Didn't he go to college?
Yes.
Don't you have like
tout that all the
selected
time.
readings or something? This is the equivalent of like Trump's like, I love the Bible. What's your favorite verse? It's like all of them.
IRL Brian Griffin. I don't think it's Gary. That's a good one.
It's also so cringe too for him to be like, dude, you saw that picture, right? Oh my God.
Oh, the sitting on the train one?
Yeah. Oh, like, how could you virtue signal like that after that fuck up? Like, it's so, like, when was the last time on stream? Maybe he does bring it up, and I'm just not aware. But, like, when was the last time on stream has not brought up, like, something he's read? He's like, oh, I was reading this lately, guys. Like, God. Oh, my God. It's so fucking cringe. Oh, Jesus.
Really, guys? We really had to go this far. Oh my God.
Oh, finally, another reader in the family. You know, these are some of my favorite books and authors. Oh, what are you reading right now?
Oh, boy.
Well, I'm sort of between books right now.
Yeah? What was the last thing you read? He's got you on the ropes now.
Well, I'm actually rereading a lot of stuff.
Yeah? Like what? Just tap out.
The classics, you know? Going back to the
What
basics,
matters.
really.
Yeah.
Words on the printed page. Thank you, Steve Gutenberg, right? What is this, oak?
Oh, I don't even think it's oak.
Have you, do you know what the millennial version of this is? Who knows it, guys? Where my
Millennial
king's at.
version?
The millennial version of this moment.
No.
Yeah, kind of. Oh, close, yeah. People listening to, you know, you got the radio, play songs, you hear a song, you're like, oh, yeah, I really like this band. And like, oh, really? What's your favorite album?
Yeah.
It's like,
What's your favorite song from them?
well, it would be the, yeah. Can you name one song besides, like, the one radio hit they have?
The song.
RIP! And then it's all ogre.
GG.
Complete.
They're done. Dunzo.
Completely and totally ogre.
Mit mir die Welt erkunden? Ein Wanderer ohne Ziel ist nicht gleich ziellos. Lass uns rennen. Die Natur hier ist zu ruhig. Nur für dich. Komm her. Nicht zu bremsen.
the worst coming out of smokestacks and eliminated medical debt. But I'm running because it just shouldn't be this hard. I've been down to 110 different cities, 475 public events. I could go to a living room in Lansing. I could be in a church in Detroit. No matter where I go, people tell me I need to be able to afford my groceries. I need to be able to afford my gas. I need to be able to see a doctor when I get sick. My friend is going to frame this race about me and her. It's not about that. It's about you. It's about what you deserve. It's about you deserving a politics that's not bought off by the same corporations picking your pocket at every single turn. I'm looking forward to the conversation about how we get money out of politics, put money in your pocket, and pass Medicare for all.
Thank you, Dr. Abdullah Al-Sayed. Next up, Congresswoman Hilly Stevens, you have 1 minute for your opening statement tonight.
Well, thank you to everyone tuning in tonight. As we know, the stakes of this race couldn't be higher. Costs continue to go up. Our health care, voting rights, civil rights, it's all on the line, in addition to Social Security and Medicare. And if Mike Rogers wins this race, all goes by the wayside. Look, Michigan deserves a senator who can win and who can deliver. I'm the only one on this stage who has flipped a Republican seat, and I was named Michigan's most effective Democratic lawmaker in Congress because my only focus is you. Abdul is running for celebrity. Republicans are propping up his campaign, and Mike Rogers just the other day said in a secret...
Okay, we have the debate we could watch, or we have Hassan watching the debate.
Look, this isn't about the D.C. or New York
Hell yeah,
influencer
we
crowd.
snarking now, boy.
This is about putting Michigan first, and I've got the receipts to do that, which is why Governor Whitmer and so many others are joining my campaign to win in November.
Congresswoman Dr. Al-Sayed, thank you both for your opening statements. Listen, just want to give you an idea of how we're going to do things a little bit differently from other debates where perhaps it's a little more formalized. This is going to be a conversation where I'm the moderator. I'll ask you questions. The time cues will be given by me. No clocks here. So let's go, and we'll begin with this. So many people have questions about affordability. It's the number one thing we hear about from people. What are they doing in Washington to make sure that life is more affordable for me? Dr. Al-Sayed, what are you doing that's something that perhaps we haven't heard before in Washington that's different to keep the cost of living down?
So let me just tell you, for me, it's I don't take money from the corporations who are jacking up your prices in the first place.
Oh,
when you're
that's the policy,
DTE
not taking money from the politicians.
And Big Pharma and Big Tech
Hell yeah.
and APAC. Don't be surprised that there's a pro quo that comes with that quid. That money doesn't just fall off trees. $60 million from outside organizations. They just come from nowhere. It's because those exact same organizations expect something on the other side, and that's that they get to expect to own your next U.S. senator. So it starts with being able to say, I'm the only candidate in this race who doesn't take any money from corporations. Never have, never will. And then from there, I actually can stand up to them. I can do things like enforce our antitrust policies that haven't been enforced. I can do things like tax billionaires their wealth so we can take that money and invest it in you and your kids, in your schools. I can do things like make sure that rather than sending your money somewhere else to drop bombs on other people and their kids, we can keep that money here at home. And just in case you don't believe me, just think about this. Just last week,
think about this one, guys.
Voted
no thanks, I like
to send $3.3 billion of your tax dollars to a foreign government. That is the pro quo that comes with the quid of $30 million spent by APAC. So it really comes down to how are you funded.
Dr. Al-Sayed, thank you. Congresswoman Hilly Stevens, we heard a lot from Dr. Al-Sayed. Some of that was about your record in Washington. I want you to be able to address that, but also tell us what you would do to keep the cost of living.
The affordability crisis is choking us out here in Michigan. You know, everywhere I go, if it's at the fish fry in downtown Detroit, or the working single mom who just the other day told me her health care costs continue to go up, that the grocery bill is only getting harder. We don't need lip service. We need action.
We need to give Israel $3.3 billion.
Employees from certain corporations are spending their money, but let me tell you about what I am doing, because DTE and our utility companies are selling out their ratepayers, and I'm giving them an option. I'm saying DTE, either stop raising rates or lose your federal funds and cut executive pay. Look, we need proven fighters in these positions. And that is what I have done time and time again. I've got the receipts to show it. And this is also why Governor Whitmer and AG Nessel, you know, two proven fighters who want to see results, have endorsed me in this race. Because Michigan, it needs a workhorse in the United States Senate. Sleeves rolled up, ready to tackle our problems on day one.
15.
And I'm not just stopping there. Let's lower the cost of groceries with my bill. No tariffs on groceries.
I do want to get into the weeds a bit with this because I want to ask you a very direct question that so many people ask us. Are these folks getting money from big utility? Congresswoman Haley Stevens, are you taking money from for your campaign from DTE or consumers?
No, but let me say this, Roop. I have been transparent. I have been transparent throughout this campaign.
She's about to hit him up with those disclosures.
She got 30 grand from DTE. She's lying.
That ever motivates my work is the people of Michigan, the people who I hear from. You know, my opponent is on these big podcasts. You know, he's running a podcast himself. These folks are making fun of the way I sound, but yet I sound like the people who need help, who are talking to me about what they need.
That was a follow-up to ask the direct question, whether you're taking money from utilities or not.
No.
The answer is no. Thank you. Dr. El-Sayed, I'm asking you the same question. Any money from anyone that we don't know about?
No and never, but then $40,000 in direct receipts to her campaign from DTE's corporate PAC. And then
40,000.
I don't know, Center for Democratic Priorities, which released its funders, but then they're behind these shell organizations, these 501c4s. So I'd really like to revisit that question because I don't know how to explain $40,000 directly to her campaign from DTE. I'm the only candidate in this race who's never touched a dime of corporate PAC money.
I do want to ask both of you about your campaigns respectively when it comes to certain questions that people have. Congresswoman, we'll begin with you. And we'll
Abdul's just saying, how can the people of Michigan trust you when you can't even be honest right now?
And it seems as though in many instances you haven't directly answered the question. Do you see why some people are bothered by the fact that so much money, $40+ million, has come from
good question.
for these PACs to talk about you and to promote you and to put them put you up as their candidate?
Yeah, and I appreciate the question, Roop, because this moment in this country and here in Michigan, people have every right to be frustrated about our campaign finance system. My opponent here on this stage, Abdul, he's got a super PAC that his father-in-law
Fact check, she got that in
has
2019.
millions of dollars going into it. And look, in terms of foreign policy, you know, Abdul and I do differ. I believe in a two-state solution. He has attacked me by name for purporting that the people of Palestine and the people of Israel deserve to live side by side peacefully. The goal is always long-term peace. And also, the Prime
Abdul
Minister
has to
of
cook her.
Israel
Oh my God.
Please, Abdul, cook her.
They both
Please cook
represent
her,
the
Abdul.
extremes. Look, Michiganders want peace. They deserve to see peace, and that is where I have always cast my vote, and that is the work that I want to do for Michigan in the U.S. Senate.
Specifically about AIPAC money, more than $46 million has been spent on AIPAC spending to back your campaign. A lot of people wonder if that is something where you're going to do their bidding when should you win this seat. Is that something people should be concerned about? And if not, why not?
Absolutely not, Roop. Look, I have been very clear.
Why are they giving you 46 million then?
And I have
oh my God, Fox is cooking her. Thank you, moderator.
I want to see
It's
a
over for her,
two-state
guys.
solution. I am deeply proud to represent one of the largest Jewish populations in a congressional district
Tel
in the
Aviv
country.
impressed.
This is a community that I have breathed alongside, that I've known alongside, and have fought to bring the hostages home. And I'm still working to get us to long-term peace.
But no concern about the $46 million+ spent on the behalf of AIPAC that should worry people about perhaps you doing their bidding should you win the seat.
Well, I don't think there's much difference between super PACs going in for Abdul or super PACs going in for me. We have a problem with campaign finance reform in this country. I have an A grading from End Citizens United. I have been endorsed by Defend the Vote. I have voted consistently, and I'm going to stop Mike Rogers
almost
from
$100
giving
million
anywhere close
of
to the
difference.
United States Senate, which is why
There's
he doesn't
half
want
of
to run
$100 million
against me,
worth of
and which is
difference.
why somebody like Governor Whitmer is supporting me in this race.
Congresswoman Stevens, thank you. I want to give some equal time here to Dr. El-Sayed. And specifically, I want to talk to you a little bit about this geopolitical weight that we all feel in this community, which is about the Israel-Palestine issue. It obviously has colored this election greatly. It colors the Democratic Party. How do you see yourself moving forward, should you become a senator here, handling the situation with Iran, Israel, and Hamas?
So I just want to say the difference between us is $46 million of AIPAC spending. They've set a record in this race to help elect my opponent.
Hell yeah,
because
AIPAC.
they know that she'll be a reliable vote, just like she took last week to send your tax dollars to a foreign government that is aiding, arming, and abetting the very people who want to foreclose on the possibility of Palestinian self-determination.
I thought he was going to say foreclose on your homes.
To take care of
the
you
Jew.
here. I want to be your U.S. senator. I want your tax dollars spent in Michigan to provide schools in Michigan, to build health care in Michigan, to build roads in Michigan. And I think that money sent over there to kill.
Brilliant.
Bro, what is happening? The moderator is actually being
crazy.
And yet, that's exactly what $46 million in spending will buy you. And I believe deeply that we have a responsibility to make sure that we don't make other people's problems worse. So I believe in equal rights to peace, dignity, and self-determination for Palestinians and Jewish Israelis alike. I believe that we should not be fighting stupid wars that AIPAC wants us to fight in the first place. And I believe we have a responsibility to keep our money here, to invest here. That really
doesn't matter. And I seem super biased. The debate just started. Chill, damn.
See an ad, probably two of them, on behalf of AIPAC for my opponent in the next commercial break. That's what that buys you, lying about a record around President Obama's endorsement or lying about me and my character. But that's exactly what happens when you stand up and say, maybe Palestinians should have rights too, and maybe we should have rights to our tax dollars here at home.
Dr. El-Sayed, I'm going to give Congresswoman a chance to respond, as you made a couple of accusations there about her record. Go ahead, Congresswoman.
I have been
I feel like I'm watching a Jessica stream. Oh my God.
No, you haven't. You just say it, but you haven't been. We need to ask him, what's he hiding? What are the Republicans going to uncover in the general election that they will use against him?
Okay.
I am the only non-millionaire in this race. I have been recognized as an effective Democratic lawmaker who governs in a clear, consistent way on complex challenges. I am beholden to the people of Michigan, the people who I hear from when I am in the grocery store line, people who broken down in tears, asking me how we can address this affordability crisis. And that is what I am doing. That is what I will do on day one. And I have the receipts to prove it. Dana Nessel agrees with me.
Dr. El-Sayed, I do want to ask you a question about the tone and the tenor of this campaign. It is safe to say that everyone from Washington to Washington Township in Michigan are sick and tired of people pointing fingers, screaming, yelling, and insulting one another. We've seen a lot of that all across the country. Just earlier this week, we heard that there was some kind of a Zoom call in which you had referenced an opponent as ogre on a pike, and so many people took offense to that. And it really pointed to the bigger question about the tone and tenor that you've been accused of having in this campaign. Do you regret any of the comments that you've made, and do you think that this race could take a more productive and a more substantive tone if we kept those personal slams out?
Look, I took to Twitter last week and said that the tone in which people talk about my opponent is unkind, and I asked anybody who supported me to not talk about her that way. In fact, when she got booed on the stage at the Michigan Democratic Party convention, I called her personally and said that that was unkind. My supporters had nothing to do with it, but I don't think that that's the way we want to do politics. I was
Which is why Haley Stevens should stop attacking me and apologize.
Pennsylvania, who has done terrible things, got elected on a set of values and is now completely throwing those values in the mud. And I do think it's important for any senator in Michigan to have a relationship with folks who are in the U.S. Senate. And if those folks are not actually acting in accordance with what they got elected on, I think it's important for all of us to have an honest opinion about what we're going to do to make sure that our Senate looks like the people it represents. But when we talk about unkindness, I also just want to speak to the fact that on behalf of my opponent, UDP, another name for AIPAC, has been running attack ad after attack ad after attack ad on my character. I'm the father of 2 daughters. I'm raising them to be stronger than any man. My wife is a doctor. My mother was the first tenured professor of engineering at her university. I was raised by strong women. To say that somehow, because I wrote an op-ed 15 years ago about First Lady Michelle Obama, or I ran against Governor Whitmer, that somehow I'm disrespecting anybody is just inconsistent with the truth.
What was that op-ed about?
So I really
he didn't mention, so now I'm curious.
to speak to why she thinks it's okay to spend $10 million of AIPAC money coming after my character. I'd love to understand that, because I went on Twitter and I said that those comments are unkind. I'd like to see the same thing.
Congresswoman, we're going to get to some questions from our audience.
He should have gone harder. He should have gone harder on her.
To address that civility issue that is lacking severely in American politics. Is this something that the ads that you see on television, whether you paid for them or whether someone else paid for them, do you think they're doing an injustice to voters by just filling the room with vitriol and hate and not getting to the issues?
Well, look, there was something else that
Oh
was
my God, this moderator keeps cooking her.
That Abdul was mentioning, which is that he said that he's not going to be able to get much done, that he's not focused on policy for the first 2 years that he is in the United States Senate.
What about civility? And she immediately goes back to attacking Abdul and saying,
again, Michigan needs a workhorse, and I am offering these ideas on day one.
Congressman, respectfully,
yes,
oh my God!
Sure.
Answer the question.
But
it's about civility.
It's about civility. To be transparent about what is being said here. And look, Abdul's a great guy. He's a great father. You know, only he can account for saying that, you know, Whitmer's bought and paid for, or that, you know, no one cares about Debbie Stabenow, or that Mallory McMorrow isn't smart enough. You know, that is certainly on him to respond to, which we certainly just did hear from him on that.
Can I
Dr. Al-Sayed, you have a quick minute here.
Look, I told you at the outset that my opponent was going to make this race about me and her. But this is about you. This is about whether or not you deserve a politics of the people, by the people, and for the people, or of the corporations, by the billionaires, and for the special interests. In an effort to talk about civility, I just took another attack. And I just want you to ask yourself, what is it that you deserve from your politics now? Do you deserve a politician more focused on their opponent because they want to be in a seat? Or do you deserve a politics where we're all asking, how do we actually serve you best? Because that's what I'm focused on here in this debate, and been focused on for the entire 15-month campaign that we've been running on.
You didn't call me an ogre.
No, again, for the record, it was Mr. Fetterman that was apparently called an ogre in the call, not you. However, I do want to get to some audience questions as well. It's time to take questions from our studio audience. We want to remind you that we are taking your questions at home as well. Just scan the QR code on your screen or text it to 248-200-5042. Make sure
they're being honest. What is happening? Oh my God!
This is high-level political commentary.
Begin with Hannah.
The bar is so fucking unbelievably low for local media. These guys are on a rocket ship over that bar.
Michigan consistently ranks among one of the worst for power reliability and rate affordability. As hotter summers and severe storms strain our infrastructure, what federal policies or grid investment standards will you champion to ensure Michigan residents get reliable, affordable power?
We'll begin with Congresswoman Haley Stevens for an answer on that.
Yeah, well, and Hannah, thank you so much for asking such an important and palpable question to so many Michiganders. It has been deeply frustrating to see Donald Trump get rid of the clean energy tax credits. It has been deeply frustrating to see our utility bills go up and up and up. These companies do not care about the ratepayers, and they are selling us out. I am not offering lip service to this issue. I'm offering a solution, which is to say to these companies, either lower the rates or lose your federal funds. Look, I voted for the infrastructure bill. I secured funds for us back here in Michigan. I want to do more of that, passing the largest climate bill in the history of this country. Donald Trump's trying to erase it. We need a science-forward agenda, delivering for us, meeting the moment for who our families are, what our children deserve, and that's why I'm running for United States Senate.
Hannah, we have an answer from Dr. Al-Sayed as well.
Anna, thank you so much for such an important question.
Cutting his mic.
I just want to speak directly to what's happening right now. You've got DTE, which is the biggest spender in our entire politics. They spend on 93% of the entire elected state legislature, as well as most of our congresspeople, including my colleague here. And that allows them to get away with things like building one of the largest hyperscale data centers in our state in ex parte approval. Now, that's fancy terms for saying approval without actually going through the normal process. And this is going to increase the load on our grid by more than twice. Now, we just lost our power for 5 days in a row because of a mid-level storm. We need to do a lot better. To me, it's about transparency in policymaking. People should not be able to take that money and then turn the other cheek and then allow for these approval processes that aren't approval processes at all. I still have yet to see a plan from DTE about how they're going to improve our reliability while doubling more so the amount of electricity they're expected to provide for a data center that nobody asked for. I put out a terms of engagement because these data centers, that was one of 15 that proposed last year alone. We need to be serious about the incoming threat that's going to make all of this so much worse.
Hit the fuck data centers button off door.
Thank you, Hannah, for your question.
Hit it.
I want to address both of the candidates, and by the way, we are going to get to some text message questions as well from all of you at home. So, but I want to talk specifically about your campaigns, and I think it's noteworthy that one of the reasons we're doing this debate is to contrast the two of you, where you stand on so many issues, but also on how you go about doing your business, how you campaign.
Yeah.
Dr. Al Sayed,
oh my God, bro.
The Democratic Socialists of America have not made an endorsement in this particular race. But when you go to our rally, and we've covered so many of them are from that organization. Who are you when it comes to your political stripes? Many people call you progressive. Some have accused you of being a socialist. Not that that's
shit, watch out, his inner frat bro is coming out.
This guy is my goat.
Where do you stand on your politics? How would you describe your politics?
I'm going to kiss him in the mouth when I go to fucking Michigan, dude.
I want policy solutions that actually map to the problems that we face. My governing experience is rebuilding a health department in the city of Detroit, leading Wayne County's Department of Health, Human, and Veteran Services. We had to go in there and work with a diverse community to be asking, what are the challenges we face and how do we actually solve them? We were able to identify the fact that our county ranked number 8 for medical debt nationwide, and we could eliminate that for a penny on the dollar. So we set aside $7 million to erase up to $700 million in medical debt. When kids couldn't get glasses, 30% of them would get tested positive for needing glasses.
Rube Rogers a baller.
We put optometrists on vans outside of schools so that as soon as a kid got a positive test, they go out, get a full optometric exam, and get a pair of glasses delivered within 2 weeks of a vision test. Now, working with a diverse community of people, you come to realize that not every solution fits the same way. You've got to be thinking about a solution in the right way. When it comes to the question of socialism, I'm not a socialist. I'm just a capitalist who understands how capitalism works. The biggest threat to capitalism was never the idea of government regulation. It was always monopoly. I want you to think about the stuff that you have to buy, whether it's your groceries and the number of stores you can go to, or it's buying a flight to see your grandmother, or it's picking a phone or a phone provider. You have like 2 or 3 options.
Guys, he has to do this. Stop booing. You guys need to understand the optics
right now. So I think government ought to be there to regulate on monopolies and oligopolies so that everybody can actually participate in an economy without having to be forced to pay more or get paid less for the work they do.
Congresswoman Stevens, another question about your campaign. We've seen just in the last few days, of course, Senator Sanders, we've seen AOC, and we've seen Elizabeth Warren just today, and they're all behind Abdul. These are the people who worked with you in the same room, have watched you for your 4 terms. Should that concern voters that they're taking the outsider's side in this case? You have a minute and a half.
Well, I think that we should look at the fact that Brenda Lawrence, my longtime mentor and dear friend, Congresswoman from Oakland County representing Detroit,
look at all my endorsements. All my endorsements. Don't look at the endorsers
Senator Stabenow,
on the financial side,
who, like myself, has been recognized as the most effective lawmaker for our state. But let me be really clear.
I'm a workforce. I'm an effective legislator. What are you going to do? What are your policies?
Michigan's
explain one fucking policy!
Okay, I have visited hundreds of small to mid-sized manufacturing shop floors.
One policy!
I have operated CNC machines in my life.
Has anybody done policy?
To being in elected
office,
policy here? I have a deep passion for the bread and butter of our state and a unique understanding of it. So when Donald Trump and Mike Rogers go to lick the bootstraps of China and start a trade war with Canada, screwing us over and selling us down the river, I will be standing up for us and securing things like what I did with the CHIPS and Science Act to deliver for our youth and equity and inclusion that is so very important to our future. Jobs for everyone, lower
jobs for
costs,
everyone.
And yeah, stop these abuses of power that are coming down from Trump and Rogers.
She has no policies. I'm losing it. The only thing she can say is I voted for the CHIPS Science Act. That's it.
We're not done at all. In fact, the debate is only halfway through. Our conversation continues. We have a lot of text messages. This bat phone's been blowing up when it takes some of your questions. The debate continues on our streaming platform, Fox Local. Here's what you do. Scan the QR code on the right of your screen. Go right to fox2detroit.com if that's easier on your phone, iPad.
Let's go, guys.
Connected TV, Fox Local. people. The candidates will
Right
answer more
there.
of your questions, and we'll hear
Right
from
there.
more of our studio audience as well. We've already received
Right there.
more than 700 text messages. We're going to comb through them, get to a couple of them after the break. I'm Roop Raj. We'll see you in a few minutes.
Knows that I passed bipartisan wins for Michigan with chips and
Schmosters, thank you for the
science to lessen
200.
our dependence on China. That I want to do that with critical minerals, which will lower costs and create jobs and continue to propel us as a manufacturing hub. And look, Roop, I was deeply proud to play a role in the Obama administration.
Policy. Give me one policy, not something that you were intentionally.
Why is he focused on policy now? This dumb motherfucker wouldn't know a policy if it hit him in the fucking face. He wouldn't know a policy if an underage policy fucking DM'd him on Snapchat. He was sending it to all his fucking friends. What is he talking about?
Well, we cannot take for granted that this incredible state of ours, Michigan, is just one of a handful left in the country whose central economy, all the jobs, drive through manufacturing. I'm going to be the champion for that in the United States Senate, and
Any
I'm
other
going to run
champions in the
through
room?
anyone and anything that gets in my way to deliver for us.
You know, one of the things and one of the reasons we wanted this debate to happen right now, just hardly, a week away from the big election, is because people don't always understand the differences between the two of you. Some of them are clear, some of them are not. So I'm going to ask you a question that is really mirrored in this text message from one of our Fox 2 viewers. And I think this is really a poignant question.
Which one have you got through?
I'll begin with you. What is the number one thing Senate Democrats are failing to do right now that you would do differently?
Well, number one, I just think the filibuster itself is anti-democratic. And we had an opportunity to break the filibuster. Now, let me just talk about what the filibuster is. The filibuster is a process by which all of the Senate can hide behind one senator who wants to filibuster, which requires a 60-vote threshold to break. And that means that you need 60 votes to pass something when it really should just be the majority number of votes. I oppose the filibuster. I think the filibuster has been anti-democratic for a lot of reasons. And once you get past that, we have the opportunity to get money out of politics to take on Citizens United. We have the opportunity to put money back in pockets by doing things like passing the PRO Act to stand with unions like the UAW who've endorsed us. We have the opportunity to start changing and enforcing our antitrust policies so a few corporations can't pick your pocket at every turn. We have the opportunity to tax billionaires their wealth, and we have the opportunity to finally guarantee every single person in this country health care through Medicare for all. But we've got to get the democracy part of it right. And right now, the biggest risks to our democracy are the filibuster, it's anti-democratic at the Senate, and money in politics. The attack ads that you've seen probably in the last commercial break itself that change our political system. When you ask $60 million to come into a race for you and then say that somehow you're electable, I think you don't quite understand what electability means. If you need a $60 million crutch, you probably can't be elected on your own terms.
Now the number is 60
I would just say that you should probably, if you really want to beat Mike Rogers, find the candidate who is electable without having to ask for a $60 million crutch to do it.
Congresswoman?
Well, look, you talk about the senators who've come in here from the coast to campaign alongside Abdul. And I think one of the things they are really missing is what we need here in Michigan. You know, an understanding of what makes our state tick. You know, go and visit a small business.
Do I think the DNC will undermine Abdul if he wins? No. He's such a stud.
It's great to hold
it's going to be like Zoran.
And have these fun events.
Not like Zoran in the general.
In Michigan.
No, DNC will back Abdul 100%.
A minority-owned business. I want to see.
He's so buttoned up and so well put together. He is an unbelievable asset.
Businesses. So things like what we have on the Avenue of Fashion, which is a national best practice, that we can do that in Saginaw and Muskegon and
DNC
Lansing.
doesn't even have money, but the DSCC will back him for sure.
But our tax code and our tax dollars aren't working for us, which is why I have staked such a big part of my campaign on hope and equity so that every zip code gets equal investment. I have fought to bring these dollars into Pontiac, and I'm darn proud of it. You know, for the bridge and for youth recreation, we need to continue to do that across the state. And the people who aren't from here, who are so eager to campaign here, they should really come and spend some time with the residents and the people who I'm hearing from each and every single day. Look, there's a lot to be proud of for Michigan, but there is so much we could be doing to do more for folks.
I believe Dr. I just want to make sure that the viewer had their question answered, because I think it was about what was going wrong in the Senate, and we got this conversation about why senators should come visit, which is actually exactly what they just did. But I just also want to just be clear about this. that at the end of the day, yes, you should go to small businesses. That's actually what we've done. We've also gone to 475 public events where we actually took questions from an audience rather than these baked and polished, made for a camera events that too often is the way that my friend has campaigned. And so, look, we do bring people in because we want to actually introduce them to Michiganders. And wouldn't it be better if one of our senators went to the Senate with colleagues ready to work with them on day one?
Well, I do want to ask you both about contrasting something that I think is really important right now. When we talk about ICE, this is something that obviously has seemed to kind of calm down a bit, but it's still fundamentally important to everyone who's watching right now. Congresswoman Stevens, where do you stand on ICE and the funding for ICE and where things should be going?
Well, I am leading the charge in the Congress right now to redirect $70 billion of your tax money, Michiganders' taxpayer money.
Oh, I should have said to Israel.
That went to ICE at the expense of your health care, at the expense of food benefits, all things that I am hearing from our Michiganders where they are experiencing pain points. We've got to redirect that $70 billion back into communities. I called for Kristi Noem to go. She was fired. But guess what? No reforms. Not a penny more for this rogue agency that is wreaking havoc. Look, I've talked to administrators at Harms Elementary in Detroit, parents who are afraid to drop their kids off for school because of these ICE raids. This isn't working for us. This is abuse of power. And I am standing up to Trump right now on these abuses of power, not shouting into a bullhorn, not getting in front of the first camera I see, but doing the hard work. That is what Michigan deserves. Look, my opponent here, Abdul, he is such a talented guy. He's written 3 books. He's had 300 podcasts. He's had all this attention. But the deal is we don't need a celebrity candidate. We don't need a celebrity senator. We need somebody who is committed to 6 years of hard, unglamorous
person
work
he's calling a celebrity literally worked for the Detroit Public Health Department, by the way.
And causing chaos right before our very eyes. It's unacceptable.
All right, Congresswoman, thank you. Dr. El-Sayed, you heard Congresswoman Stevens there say,
how does he think that's related?
Strip away some of the funding for ICE. Is that not good enough?
Well, she's also voted to raise ICE funding 4 times. That's the part that you didn't hear. 4 times voted to raise ICE funding. Voted to thank ICE, in fact. So this is the same kind of D.C. hypocrisy, I hate to say it, that we often see. Say one thing in front of a camera, do another thing. I said that we need to abolish ICE. ICE is not about immigration. ICE is not about the southern border. We can have a safe and secure southern border. We can also enforce immigration policy. But ICE is not about that. ICE is about normalizing paramilitary force on our streets. And I just want to push back on the idea that
what is this camera angle? What the fuck's going on?
I was just in Genesee County this weekend, and you had raids in Saginaw. People are scared to death, and we've got a congresswoman who tells you that she's against ICE, has voted to raise ICE funding, voted to thank ICE, called...
Apparently that voted to thank ICE thing is a really cringe. There was some funding thing, or there was something, and then they, like, the Republicans threw in at, like, the bottom, they were like, oh, well, this is also, like, thanking ICE at the same time, or it was something cringe and stupid, but
needs to exist for the
it's not like they had, like, a bill, like, should we all thank ICE? And she was like, yes.
And I think we can do a much better job when it comes to immigration without one. And here's the last thing I just want to say about this.
No notes.
When it comes to the question of immigration, we need Democrats who are going to stand up and actually talk about the great good that immigration has done for our country in the first place. The idea that somehow we can't say abolish ICE because we're so afraid of what they're going to say when we've seen ICE terrorize people in our streets, to me, is exactly the kind of cowardice that we don't need from Democrats. So I'm going to take the bullhorn,
boosting that
and
he's
I'm
a
going to say that I think we need to abolish ICE because I am not afraid of what they're going to say about me.
Doctor, I do want to follow up, though, with both of you. Isn't saying abolish ICE like saying defund the police? Is that just busting the whole thing open? Or do you believe that in order to have enforcement, you need to have an agency that knows how to do it?
Yeah, well, I just also ran government agencies, and I know that when a culture of impunity sets into
why did the guy prime him for that question? That was led so much. Wait, what?
And so I think the agency, as it exists, does not.
Wait, what was that?
That's not to say that we are not going to keep our streets secure. That's not to say that we're not going to enforce immigration policy. That's not to say that we shouldn't have a safe, secure southern border. The same way we did it for most of our history, Ruth.
Yeah,
for most of our history, we didn't have ICE. We had INS. And they were targeted. They obeyed the laws of this land. They didn't terrorize people.
It's paperwork crimes. It's not a real crime.
They didn't run up in schools and churches they understood that their job, yes, was to enforce immigration policy, but they did it under the protection of the Constitution itself. And that's what we're losing here. You've got ICE agents who do not understand that the central law of this country is the Constitution itself. ICE has become a tyrannical agency, and I think there is no way to
Do you think misogyny might play a role in boosting Abdul over? No.
And then build from scratch.
It's a Democratic primary.
Yeah, bro. You have been on video saying on social media before about the fine people of ICE. Do you feel differently about that? Do you believe that both can be true, that there needs to be reform, but there are good people working?
Oh my God!
Let me just be very clear.
Have they had a single quote from Abdul yet?
Solutions.
Damn.
All right. I went up to an ICE detention facility to call out and see why people were losing their lives.
Roof Raj, a real Baltimore Maoist. He critiques socialism to make it better.
An outrage. And look, a lot of you remember Abdul from when he first ran for governor in 2018. It didn't work out. So he started the podcast, he wrote the books, and now he's running for Senate. And
all she does is fucking attack Abdul.
It's just another rung on the
Oh,
ladder.
he's too
That's
famous.
Not what this job is for me.
Not
That's
answering
why
the
I'm putting up my
question.
hand in
Answer
this
the
moment.
fucking
It's not about
question.
celebrity. This is about making sure that Mike Rogers doesn't get
Mike Rogers, Abdul's famous. I got endorsed by Gretchen Whitmer. Say something direct
for this state and for our values, for our rights and our freedoms. And I promise you, Michigan, I will make us shine.
Dr. Al-Sayed, there are people watching this right now, and every time they hear this podcast business, they're scratching their heads. They're putting food on the table, gas in the tank. They're curious to know what that's about. Have you made a ton of money because of podcasts?
Yeah, I don't know. Like,
have you made a ton of money because of podcasts? Wait, what are these questions?
I was going to make this about me.
Wait,
and her.
what?
I want to make this about you. Somehow she just really, you can listen to the podcast. It's there. Congresswoman, if you enjoy podcasts about public health, I welcome you to take a listen. You seem very concerned about that. I'm more concerned about the fact that people can't pay for their gas, they can't pay for their groceries. We're fighting a war that's cost us billions of dollars that has been pushed by the government of a foreign country, the same foreign country that the folks paying for your ads want us to send billions of dollars to. And that's the thing that I think Michiganders really want to understand. They're not that worried about the fact that I hosted a podcast. They're worried about the fact that right now, for a lot of folks, their kids go to schools that are unbecoming of their future. They are worried about the fact that they can't gas up their car because it costs, what, $4.50 a gallon? They're worried about the fact that the same corporations who funded your campaign are raising rates on the things that they can't go without, like their power. So I'd really like us to focus on the things that actually matter, which have nothing to do with the podcast, have everything to do with the future of Michiganders that we would like to serve.
Yeah, but it also is about transparency. And you have not released your full tax returns.
Hasn't he at this point?
$300,000 in other income while you sat in the podcast chair and you hawked health care cures that RFK Jr. would thumbs up. You talk about getting money out of politics and putting money in people's pockets, but still no one knows who's putting the money in your pocket. You know, I have been transparent and I am offering,
you have not
plans to address the cost of living crisis,
we want to be able to
tackle Donald Trump's
And you're talking about what you did, but you also made some accusations here. Dr. Al-Sayed, that is a question that some people may have.
You want to respond more?
That Congressman's talking about. Talk about the money and the financial disclosures. You were going to release some.
We
today.
released all of our financial disclosures. Again, this is a distraction from the issues in your life.
But not
I'd love to talk about transparency. I really would. Because I want you to ask yourself, there is this group called the Center for Democratic Priorities. They didn't exist until they popped up and started running ads for my opponent. And then there's this other group called Center Forward that paid for a flight for the Congresswoman and her mother to go to Portugal. And they just released their donors. And then it's a whole bunch of shell 501c4 organizations. They're the folks who are literally putting money in our pockets right now to try and mis and disinform us about this race. And here's the thing about it. None of it actually makes your life better. Think about the $60 million that got spent in this race. What could $60 million do for a community in Detroit? What could $60 million mean for erasing medical debt? I'll tell you, $6 billion it could erase. But they want to spend it to get the Congresswoman elected. Why? Because at the end of the day, they know that they're going to have a safe seat doing their bidding instead of yours. Every single dollar that DTE is spending is a down payment on knowing that they can raise your rates. Every single dollar that Blue Cross Blue Shield spends in this race is a down payment on raising your payment.
All right.
Every single dollar.
Thank you, Dr.
comes with
Al-Sayed.
something.
I want to ask some more questions from our audience at home right now. You're texting us. I got them right here. The next question is, how will you ensure low-income communities receive
Brown Boys
equitable
Unite!
and adequate education? You've heard so many people say Michigan ranks 44th when it comes to literacy for fourth graders. Let's start with Congresswoman Haley Stevens.
Motherfucking Browntown, baby!
Jesus Christ.
Well, we are
Is he brown today? He's not white?
He's brown today.
By Washington, D.C. and Donald Trump,
Double
who
R!
treats the Oval Office like a stock trade floor. This is why I want to end the corruption of seeing people who want to be celebrities or get famous or rich in office. I want to ban stock trading. Folks, I'm the only non-millionaire in this race. But let me tell you something about what I
She's not a
have
millionaire?
worked on
She's not a
from
net
what
worth
I'm
of what, $1 million?
full
Maybe she means that a
funding
different
for
way.
special education. You know, our public
No shot.
schools here in Michigan are getting the short end of the stick. And if we fully fund special education, we could meet the needs that a family in Royal Oak has talked to me about, where they feel torn
Finally, she's
about
talking
making
about a
sure that
policy.
their
This is her
child
first
with
time, I think.
Oh my
special
God, he's so
complex
retarded. Where did he get this
medical
talking
needs
point from?
actually gets the education they deserve.
She
This
is falling
also why
apart.
we
She
have to
feels
expand
frazzled.
Medicaid,
You can see
not
it.
just reinstate the cuts that Donald Trump cut. We have
Says
got
the guy
to
having
expand
nightmares
these
about us.
programs.
True.
And I consider myself
I do think her talking points are not the
for
best here,
public
though.
Education.
It feels like she's trying to do like a general debate,
I
and
don't
this
know
guy
if
is
he
like
is,
locked in on.
but
and why I'm leading
his
the
wife is a
charge
doctor.
to
He was a doctor.
redirect
He never
grants
actually
to go
became a practicing
into
physician,
the
but
profession
he had a
of education,
podcast.
just
He
like
wrote
my father
books.
was. He was a first grade teacher.
Bro,
in the
he's
city of
he's a
Detroit
fucking Rhodes
doing
Scholar. Of
reading
course he has a lot of
recovery,
money.
in
What are we
addition to
talking
running
about?
his small business. And so I
Oh, it
want to
doesn't
see
matter now,
more
though, huh?
people go into that profession, go into
He's
our
worth like
public
1.7.
schools,
That's a
and
broke boy, dude.
That is going to
Thank you.
certainly solve a
He's
lot
worth
of problems for
1.7
us.
and just made
Dr.
300,000
you heard the
Yeah, Rube
profits on
doesn't
capital
follow me.
gains.
I
or whatever?
checked.
There's no shot.
Is that part of the solution here? What do you think?
You know, you asked a really important question about education. I'd like to answer that question. I'm proud of the fact that the American Federation of Teachers has endorsed me in this race. And they've done it because I'm a proud product of public schools. I know what it's like to walk into a public school in Detroit in January. And kids are bundled up because the boiler's broken, trying to learn how to read. You talk about a literacy crisis. How do you learn how to read when you have to wear a coat in the middle of the day? We put glasses on kids' faces specifically because we knew that it doesn't matter what's happening on the blackboard if you can't see the blackboard. But we need to radically rethink how we do public education in this country. We are not invested nearly enough. I want to tie the support for public education through the Department of Education, which, by the way, needs not just to be brought back, but fully invested in. I want to tie that funding to the Department of Defense. So when they try to raise the Department of Defense budget, we're going to make sure we're invested in public schools too. I also think that the way that we have funded local education, specifically school buildings, has too often ported the historical racism of the past. Right now, we fund school buildings based on property tax. Property tax is a function of property value. Property value is a function of who's been able to live where as a function of redlining from the past. And when we say that that same process should be patterning the social mobility of the future through public schools, that's a real problem. But I just want to say this. I actually agree with the Congresswoman on one really critical thing. We are being robbed. The money that we should have to invest in our schools is being sent to foreign governments to destroy other people's schools instead of investing in our own. And that is exactly what AIPAC wants you to do and why they're spending so much money to get the Congresswoman.
Dr. Al-Sayed, Congresswoman, it's one point in which at least partially you agree on. As one of you will be taking on Mike Rogers, people want to know what are the defining differences. This next question comes to us from a young person herself who actually is a student in Detroit, a college student. And we thank you so much, Gamora, for being with us here today.
Gamora.
What's your question to the candidates?
Good evening, candidates. My name is Kimora Riddick, and I'm a Wayne State University junior studying broadcast journalism. And my question is about the wildfires. So the wildfires from Canada deeply affected Michigan's air quality,
Fucking
especially
Canadians.
in Detroit. What environmental measures are you planning to decrease the dangers of air pollution?
Let's start with Congresswoman Haley Stevens.
Yeah,
Hell
well,
yeah.
it is so great to have a student from Wayne here. I've just treasured working with that university in their science program and STEM education. And that is very much at the heart of why we need good
Just get to the
climate
fucking answer.
policy, not the junk science that we are getting from the Trump administration. And let me tell you what I think that looks like. One, we've got to cut the carbon emissions. We've got to lessen our dependence on big oil and gas. investments like I secured in our clean energy future, so that from Marquette to Detroit, we were evolving and moving forward. You know, that has been stripped away by Donald Trump, and that's not right. But it's also not enough to just say, hey, we're going to go in there and just fight Trump. We've got to put forward our own creative ideas, which is why for 4 terms I've sat there on the science committee, securing resources, looking at alternatives for plastic and our supply chain. This is an opportunity for Michigan
this one is
manufacturing, Michigan innovation to shine. I want to make sure that we are leading the way. And then when Kamara is a broadcast personality, she's talking about the things that we have secured in the United States Senate for Michigan, for our jobs and for our clean energy future.
Dr. Al-Sayed, clean air. Kamara, just be careful. If you become a broadcast personality, somebody might come after you.
And call you.
I just want to speak specifically to your question. I can tell you about what we've already done. We put air quality monitors all over Wayne County so folks can get real-time information about the air that they're breathing. Took on some of the biggest corporate polluters in our state when I was in the city of Detroit. Took on Marathon Petroleum.
Being able to reference a thing somebody might be familiar with, like whatever fucking thing he was just talking about for air quality monitors, is a way better, way more direct answer.
The truth of the matter is that these wildfires are happening more often because it's drier and hotter than it has been in the past. It's drier and hotter because we continue to rely on fossil fuels for our energy. We need to get to 100% renewable energy. And the only way we're going to do that is by taking the Chevrons and the Exxons of the world out of our politics. Now, guess whose campaign they supported? Well, if you guessed my Congresswoman colleague, you probably guessed right, because yes, they have both given to that campaign. So when you hear ideas of things that ought to be done, but they never actually get done, you should ask yourself why it doesn't get done. Well, because the people who sell oil in this country fund the politicians who make sure that they can keep selling oil.
Damn.
Dr. Al-Sayed, Congresswoman, thank you so much. We have another text question, one of the many, many text questions. This one, I think, is important because, again, my main goal and our main goal at Fox 2, let's differentiate between the two of you. What are the big differences here? So what would you do on your first day in office? We'll begin with you, Dr. Al-Sayed. What would you do on your first day of office should you become senator?
Anybody who knows me knows that getting people health care is the passion of my life. I went to medical school only to realize that too often our healthcare system is part of the problem. We need and deserve guaranteed health care through Medicare for all. I have been thinking about this question. In fact, I've testified to the U.S. Senate twice. This wouldn't be my first time walking into the chamber. On Medicare for all, guaranteeing health care, on eliminating the medical debt in this country, $225 billion. Now, on Medicare for all, there is work that we're going to have to do. We're going to have to get a president elected who can do it in 2029. Now, in the process, though, I actually think that we could eliminate all the medical debt in this country, $225 billion. Just so you understand what that is the amount of the GDP of more than half of U.S. states in this country. So on day one, I want to offer medical debt relief to everybody. I think we could get bipartisan support to do it, and I'd love to get that done. And let's start working through Medicare for all, and then let's make sure that we can get money out of politics so the big pharmas and the big insurances of the world aren't in the way when it comes down to finally getting this done for all Americans.
Congresswoman, in a minute and a half, tell us what you do on your first day in office.
Yeah, day one, we have to stand up to the abuses of power. Take it from somebody who has been recognized as our most effective lawmaker. When I tell you, I'm going to go to the United States fighting for elected officials.
She's going to Tel Aviv.
For our president and our vice president and for candidates for those offices. I am going to get it done. I am sick and tired of seeing Donald Trump sell us out to the highest bidder, go cut deals with every other country except for cutting deals for us here in Michigan. We have been paying the price, and it is not acceptable. And speaking of prices, day one actions to lower costs and to invest in small businesses, minority-owned businesses right here in Michigan. Those are your tax dollars, and I believe in the effective stewardship of them so that they go back to our communities here, and I've got the receipts for that. I've got the proof points for that. And then lastly, we've got to make sure that the jobs of the future are coming from the place that we all love to call home, which is why my manufacturing agenda on day one will also be in the hopper. I got all the bills ready to go, Roop.
We have 30
What are
seconds
those
left for
bills?
each of you to answer the following questions.
Say the
what
whole
makes you
bill.
think you're the formidable candidate who can take on Mike Rogers? 30 seconds, Dr. Al-Sayed.
Well, poll after poll after poll has shown, despite what my colleague says, that I am the most competitive candidate to take on Mike Rogers. But it's also this, that you've got to have something you're fighting for. Ask yourself, if DTE funds both Mike Rogers and Haley Stevens, who wins? DTE wins. And Blue Cross, and Big Pharma, and Big Tech, and APAC, all funded by the same people. We need a choice. I'm the only candidate in this race who does not take corporate money. And so I offer a real contrast to a guy who has never seen a corporate dollar he did not want.
Congresswoman Haley Stevens, 30 seconds.
Well, look, Governor Whitmer, Attorney General Nessel, the chair of the Michigan Legislative Black Caucus, Amos O'Neill, they all agree that I will be Michigan's workhorse, that I will stand up for us on day one, that I will beat Mike Rogers just like I have beat Republicans 4 times over.
Thank you so much. Congresswoman Haley Stevens, Dr. Al Sayed, the vote is now in the people's hands, a week away. A
That's
critical
crazy.
conversation
Abdul says, I'm going to be a real fighter.
Yes, it's local, but
my
it's
opposition is funded by Mike Rogers and Haley Stevens is funded by the same people. They don't care who wins. This makes her less electable. She goes, I'm a workhorse, and I got Dana Nessel, the Attorney General's endorsement.
I think she does need. I think she needs punchier responses to some of her questions. I feel like she needs to be able to attack Abdul more too. I feel like she was more generally aimed here and not attacking Abdul as much in this conversation. But I'm gonna use the restroom real quick, and then we're jumping on this other panel. 1 sec.
Remember to hit that like and subscribe, and don't forget the notification bell so that my videos show up right in your feed.
Zwischen uns wäre was.
Sie mögen es also brutal. mich an. Ich will dein Ende nicht verpassen. Ohne Schmerz wüssten sie nicht, was Genuss ist. Ich koste jede einzelne ihrer Qualen voll aus. Nichts wird verschwendet. Gib es zu, ich bin atemberaubend.
Ein Gegner wurde getötet. Ein Verbündeter wurde getötet.
Okay. Okay, ich bin dran.
So, moin moin meine aktiven Freunde, da ist die Kamera und herzlich willkommen, heute gibt es wieder ein neues Video in alter Frische. Wir gucken uns heute Polizei Hannover an im Einsatz. Ich war ja erst mit den Jungs auf Streife mit der Autobahnpolizei. Der eine oder andere von euch hat es vielleicht mitbekommen, es hat richtig Spaß gemacht. Für die Leute, die eigentlich nur diese Kanäle hier verfolgen und sonst nirgendwo anders, das ist die neue Zentrale in meinem neuen Haus. Ich fühle mich pudelwohl, die Kameraperspektive gefällt mir auch persönlich sehr, sehr gut. Und ich hoffe, ihr habt Bock auf ein neues Video. Däumchen nach oben und kostenlos abonnieren auf euch mit einem schönen Apfelringe Zero zum Wohl. Wir gehen rein, Feuer frei. Geil. Da wäre ich ja auch so gerne mal mit auf Streife, aber mit einem Livestream ist das aus datenschutzrechtlichen Gründen leider nicht möglich. Ich bin aber gerade in der Planung mit der Polizei Hannover, auch bei solchen Einsätzen mit dabei zu sein, dann aber als Videoformat und als, in Anführungszeichen, Exklusiv-Content für YouTube und nicht für Twitch dann.
Für uns ist die erste Priorität, haben wir verletzte Personen, denen geholfen werden muss. Wir haben mehrere Beschuldigte, wir haben eine Schlägerei, man muss priorisieren, wen spreche ich jetzt an,
moin moin.
wem laufe ich gegebenenfalls hinterher. Aber vor Ort ist das immer anders, als man es am Ende denkt.
100%. Geil, Digga. So geil. Und so cool, das jetzt sich anzugucken, nachdem man da mit denen auch mal auf der Streife war. Also leider mit keinem von den Polizisten und Polizistinnen hier, aber mit der Autobahnpolizei war schon richtig cool.
Achtung, Einrichtung.
Messer und Pfefferspray, okay.
Ja, dann gehen wir noch mit hinterher.
Ja, kann man sich schon vorstellen, welches Klientel das da ist. Ah, Spielfilm, Digga. Ist ja richtig Spielfilm.
Sie haben welche abbekommen. Bitte? Sie haben Schläge abbekommen.
Der hat mir aufs Maul geschlagen, ja. Also,
Das wusste ich nicht von dir jetzt.
nee, alles gut, ich wollte es einfach nur wissen. Also der hat mir eben gerade hier oben, oben noch, hat er mir ein paar aufs Maul gehauen. Deswegen
Welcher von denen war das?
Der mit den kurzen Haaren.
Würden Sie noch mal zeigen, wo wir nach vorne gehen?
Kann ich gerne machen.
Perfekt.
Kein Problem.
Der sieht jetzt nicht so aus, als wenn der auf Stress aus wäre.
Er ist einmal Opfer zu 1 und 3. Ja, er erkennt den 041.
Es ist immer so geil, was sie für Codewörter haben. 041. Ja, 04161 ist Vorwahl von Buxtehude.
Meldest du einmal?
Ja. Jo, wie steht? Der hat mir aufs Maul geschlagen und danach ist er weggerannt.
Ja.
Und dann kam Ihr Schuh.
Dafür sieht er zumindest erstmal unversehrt aus,
dann
hoffentlich.
Schon in einer großen Kolonne. Also
brauchen Sie einen Rettungswagen?
Nein, alles gut.
Nein.
Nein, alles gut.
Natürlich kann es für uns immer eine Gefahr darstellen, wenn sich größere Gruppen schlagen, weil wir ja auch nicht wissen, ob man sich nur mit Fäusten schlägt, ob man eventuell noch Messer dabei hat oder andere Gegenstände.
Weswegen die Situation für uns aufgrund der Anzahl der Personen und der unterschiedlichen Örtlichkeiten mit der -1-Ebene und der, der 0-Ebene deutlich unübersichtlich und gefährlich war.
Die Leute, ich sage es immer wieder und das wird auch immer meine Mission sein, die Leute und gerade solche Gruppen haben einfach maximal gar keinen Respekt mehr vor der Polizei. Und mir auch egal, ob Leute da anderer Meinung sind. Die Polizei ist unser Freund und Helfer und man sollte ihnen immer mit Respekt gegenübertreten. Aber das ist halt beim Großteil von, oder bei sehr vielen Menschen heutzutage leider nicht mehr vorhanden.
Also der dritte oder der ganz hinten dritte? Der ganze.
Die Polizeistation kenne ich gar nicht.
Komm, Hanno.
Sieht ein bisschen aus wie ein Buxtehude, bin ich ehrlich.
Ja, wir müssen mal bitte anfahren. Ich weiß nicht, wie weit, nach Empelton.
Holy moly, ey. Eine sehr, sehr lange Fahrt.
Wie wünsche ich euch? Hat die Tür gegen den geparkten PKW eine Fußgängerin geschlagen. Ich wollte Mutter und Kind überfahren.
Wie bitte?
Ja, aufgenommen. Wir haben eine sehr weite Anreise, nur zur Kenntnis.
Hast du es jetzt so verstanden, dass der da vor Ort jetzt wartet?
Nein.
Oder? So,
Der wollte noch überfahren und ist dann gefahren, so habe ich es verstanden. Einmal männlich hat eine Dame mit der Tür, mit seiner Autotür gegen ihr PKW geschlagen. Da gibt es Streitigkeiten. Und jetzt hat man angedroht, sie zu überfahren.
Geradeaus?
Nein, hier runter durch,
Ich bin ja auch mit im Streifenwagen dann gefahren, mit Blaulicht auch. Das ist schon heavy, also schon geil. Also nicht, weil am Ende, wenn man das macht, dann natürlich dahinter irgendetwas ist, was nicht so geil ist. Aber es ist schon mit Adrenalin verbunden, sagen wir es einfach mal so. Und mit einer gewissen Furcht auch, weil du fährst mit so hoher Geschwindigkeit mit Blaulicht. Und Blaulicht interpretiert man natürlich immer eigentlich mit Gefahr oder etwas Schlechtem.
Wir sind gleich da.
Siehst du schon wen?
Nee, rechts. Hanno 4524. Wir sind vor Ort.
Das ist nicht der Opfer.
Auf dem Supermarktparkplatz, Digga.
Moin.
Moin.
Der Herr ist der Herr, oder? Für Sie sind Sie erstmal vorläufig Beschuldigter am Strafverfahren und Sie müssen sich gegenüber der Polizei nicht selbst belasten und können auch Anträge vorbringen, die Sie entlasten. Ja, wir fangen einmal auf der Seite an, ich war nicht mit dabei und dann kommen wir zu Ihnen und hören mir Ihre Seite nochmal an, okay?
Er hat ja gesagt, ja, ich muss ja irgendwie aussteigen, haut noch mutwillig dagegen. Und dann sagt er, stellen Sie sich doch nicht so an. Wir haben ja hier gewartet, auch bis Sie jetzt kamen, da ist er inzwischen gekommen. Und wir haben ihn darauf hingewiesen, dass halt gesagt worden ist, dass er bitte nicht wegzufahren hat. Meine Mutter stand hier und er hat dann versucht mit dem Auto mehrfach ist er gegen meine Mutter gekommen mit dem Auto. Er hat mich berührt, mehrfach.
Okay, ist eine sehr unübersichtliche Situation. Anscheinend hat er die Delle ins Auto gehauen, dann hat sich die Mutter vor das Auto gestellt, damit er nicht wegfahren kann. Er wollte aber wegfahren und hat sie leicht angefahren, so mäßig. Da weiß ich gar nicht, wie die Rechtslage ist, aber grundlegend darfst du natürlich niemand mit deinem PKW anfahren oder deinen PKW zu einer Waffe machen.